The first day when I called the meeting and some of them, when they introduced themselves, I was just looking at them. I was deputy governor in Niger Delta. I didn't know them. What I'm saying is that when the president then invite them, they come because they are known characters. They have a reason to do whatever, whether rightly or wrongly, they had a reason. And when they invite them, they appear. For the Boko Haram, no, they will not appear. I visited as a vice president. I visited one of the strongest militant camps in Delta. When I arrived, Warri, of course, as a vice president, I moved with security. They send words across to me that I should not come to their camp with weapons or with security. The security people say I should go back. I should not go. I say I will go. The people who follow me, none of them carry even a revolver. When we go to the camp, there are all kinds of weapons. They were carrying assault rifles and all kinds of things. We had a discussion, but you can't do that for Boko Haram because they are faceless and their approach is different.
They are still faceless till today?
So even that time, I set up a committee headed by the current Minister of Special Duties. And so that, yes, if we have any window for discussion, let's discuss. Because the interest of the country is paramount. Sometimes the West will say, no, people should not negotiate with terrorists. Yes, we don't have to negotiate with terrorists. But then, if there is any way we can solve this problem, because whoever dies, whether it's a Boko Haram person that dies or a civilian or a security personnel, it's a Nigerian, and I feel depends. I get security information on an hourly basis. So anything that will end is something that I'm interested in. So what happened then was that we had a window through the Chadian system. It's not as if we just woke up to discuss with Boko Haram. And actually some people came for those conversations with my people. But it's like the Boko Haram, they are factionalized in a way, just like when you talk about the Niger Delta militants. Now there's no one umbrella body. Luckily you call them general. Every general has his own army. So Boko Haram have similar operations. So at the time, it did not get the blessing of all of them. So of course they said that it failed. But it's not as if anybody was swindled. No, federal government was not swindled. Well, they didn't give money to anybody.
I don't think it would be nice for us to come here with you and not ask you. There was the one thing you've learned in this first term, because this is your first term.
Yeah.
If indeed, let's play the devil's advocate, you win and you become the next president, they are sworn in 2029, what would you do differently?
If you talk about differently, yes, of course. If you stay somewhere, you may begin to adjust the way you do certain things. Because I've realized that in society, what people assess you more is not the real things you do, but how you get those things done. Probably because the common story people say is that, oh, the president meant well for this country. Yes, I meant well for this country. Anybody who's close to me, and I'm passionate about Nigeria. But they say, oh, people around the president do, people around the president do. Of course, you must be very watchful about the actions and inactions of people around you so that you don't continue to drag the reputation of the government into jeopardy, wrongly or rightly. It's not as if some of them have done anything wrong, but the perception is worse than real. Sometimes you who is sitting there know the exact thing, but if the perception is different, you have issues. I'm just telling you about a university professor who said he came to my house. That man has never visited State House. Even if he has come here for a general program in Electoral, I may not know. But coming to my residence, I'm not sure he has even visited my residence. Who told Nigerians that they gave him one full turkey in a house that they don't even serve turkey? And if he pushes that story, yes, of course, we'll manage the perception better. And if you strengthen that sector, the image of government will improve. Because most of the problems we're having is the perception, not really. Because if you talk about concrete things that this government have done, we can challenge any group within these 4, or even if you put 5 years, and just even add the 1 year using completing your address 10 and 5 years. If you take, let me go to I'm not even things that are not too tangible. If you look at a body called the PTDF, Petroleum Technology Development Fund, it's used for technical training. From the one monies that have been given to that institution, the number of youths we have trained within these 5 years for technical training at sub-graduate level, at the graduate level, masters and PhD, including pilots and so on. The number of people we have trained from that institution within these 5 years is more than the number of youths we have trained from inception of that institution. What we are doing with the money?
Professor, you do it differently. Maybe I let my colleagues ask one question. Because, I come from a home where my husband shares the same views. If only people knew how fantastic doing that is. I don't know. But what about you?
Okay, Mr. President, you mentioned that you had a chat with your main challenger, that's General Buhari, during the last Council of State meeting. There has been a lot of mudslinging in this campaign. A lot of things are being pushed out, especially about him. Can you tell us your own personal assessment of that man? What do you think about Buhari?
No. If I should assess Buhari under the condition where 2 of us are contesting from one position, I don't think I will be fair to Nigerians, and I'll be fair to myself. It's not proper. You are not being fair to me to ask me that question. If we talk about mudslinging, I think it's worse. I think the garbage that is poured on me is much more than the ones. That's not what I'm talking about. Because people come to me and say, President, in the social media, they've done this, they have done that, they have done that. I say, well, that is the cross we have to carry. Because I said that's the cross a leader will carry. I know certain things that happen and the kind of effect on me, a number of people don't know, but have to carry it wrongly or rightly. So, but if you talk about Buhari, I don't social media. In fact, I don't even have the time to. No, definitely you are sitting where I'm sitting. You don't really have the time. So I may not know much about what is happening. But in my opening statement, I told you that some of the things I observe, I feel sad. I feel sad.
Personally.
And I say yes, and I say that it's not the way to go. And I said that, look, Buhari contested 2003 against Obasanjo. Contested 2007 against late Yaradua, which I ran as his running mate. Contested against me 2011. But even 2011, it was the closest. The environment was different. These issues you are describing as the mudslinging statements that people are supposed to make were not there. But so I said that the characters around us
have changed.
And that is changing the principles. And I remember when, of course, APC started their campaign before me. I think they visited almost 4 states before PDP started. And I watched some of the rallies. And if you listen to me, the way I spoke in Lagos, I was a bit aggressive. Yeah, because the kind of statements that people made, it was not proper.
Can we just summarize that as sign of the times? Tension is high and more thinking is going on, but it doesn't change the fact that we have the opportunity to clear some of these issues. So, Mr. President, you forgive us for asking such questions, but we have to ask them. They're hard. We must ask them. We just have 1 minute each on both sides. So Mr. President can round up so we can.
Final question then will be.
Final question.
I want you to respond to the issue of campaign financing. I mean, we've seen a lot of money spent on the campaign trail. From what we have seen, it's not as if, and because political parties do not disclose how much they spend. Your party, for instance, raised 21 billion naira. Are you bothered at the amount of money that we spend in our campaigns, and would you want to do something to correct that situation?
In terms of amount of money being spent, it's been regulated by INEC laws, but the pressure on anybody contesting election, either a councillor at the local government level or a chairman of the council, state assembly, up to the president. The pressure is quite high.
Pressure from where, sir?
The pressure from the people, because I've been in politics from 1998-99 when I ran as a deputy governor today. So there's always so much pressure on people who want to. Those are the things that worry us. If there will be less pressure, most of this has nothing to do with even the formal elections. But if you talk about my party raising money, the PDP has been raising money. That money that PDP launched was mainly to build their secretariat. That, we have a secretariat we've been building. It's been hanging. So it was not money for election. No, it was not for election. And what you mentioned as 21 billion, these are pledges. Did you see the cash?
Okay. So, Ibana?
Yes, my final question, Mr. President. Do you have confidence that INEC, as presently constituted, will conduct free, fair, and credible elections for this country?
I told you that I appointed everybody in INEC, the chairman of INEC, I appointed in the national commissioners and the resident electoral commissioners. I appointed them, and they will do the work.
Sir, I would like to round up this now, sincerely. I would have liked to spend 3 hours with you. But you've communicated quite clearly to us that the nation is more important than even the current sitting president.
Yes, of course.
Very particular about what, and appealing to everybody on what side. Although I wonder about the fact that there's only 2 parties in here. There are many other parties. So, but I would like you to give us closing statements. Let Nigerians hear from you what your closing thoughts are.
Let me reassure Nigerians that elections will be conducted in this country, and the government will be inaugurated on the 29th of May this year. And let them not be perturbed by stories that are not real. Oh, Mr. President want to send the INEC chairman on 3 months terminal leave and bring somebody that will manipulate elections for him. These are stupid things that people insinuate. Those stories, it belongs to the garbage world. I think those of you who use computers, there's this language like garbage in, garbage out. If you put rubbish into the computer, it will send rubbish to people. And the stories people read, less than 20% of it, especially in the social media, less than 20% of it that you can really see that this is a credible story. Even if there is some credibility, it's overpainted. The colors they give distort the whole story. And when a story is distorted, the information that story communicates is always wrong. But let me reassure Nigerians that we'll conduct elections. It's better for INEC to conduct elections that we all believe that is free and fair. It's quite regrettable that they have to reschedule elections. For us who are politicians, it's more painful because that means more tension, more this, more that, more sleepless nights and meetings, endless meetings. But even with that, it's better that elections are done in a way that Nigerians will at least believe that the elections are credible. If you, for example, I mentioned that in some states, Lagos State, Ogun State, as at that time, have less than 40% PVCs that were distributed. Less than 40%, both Lagos and Ogun State. Some states about 50. The tallies I'm hearing now have improved. So it's only proper that Nigerians be given the opportunity to vote. And especially we are coming from a culture where people don't used to care about how people get into offices, where people manipulate electoral processes. If I ask any of you whether you voted 2007 and 2003, I'm not sure any of you even voted.
Are you sure we vote now?
But you voted 2011. So if we are coming from a culture where people don't even vote and all kinds of things happen, to a culture where we want every Nigerian, I want a situation where every Nigerian must vote. That is my commitment. But it may be difficult. INEC may have some logistic challenges. But at least, even if they cannot distribute the PVCs 100%, the percentage should be fairly high so that Nigerians will believe in the process.